Welcome back. Welcome back. Got some cool stuff. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's play some music. So, first, I'm just going to go through some notes real quick to kind of get in a chain of topics to get to something I just saw, maybe as an endpoint. Okay, so Earth expanded more surrounding Antarctica than the rest of the planet. I just thought I'd mention that. I think I might have even said that before in a similar way. That's going to come up again, but also, I wrote down it would be cool if there was such a thing as a map-based social media platform that also had like it was almost like just a all-in-one platform for learning, so people could post like technical things, like you could zoom in, click like this place, have like people tag photos there. People can tag locations and like join groups to the locations. I thought it'd be so cool, especially with the technical details. Like, also all papers that anyone like includes. I don't know, but where like the method of interacting can include a map and like tabs. Anyway, I wish anyone wants to do that. That would be cool. Okay. So there is what is called. I was looking into Lake Baikal, so we're gonna start with this lake. I was looking into this lake, trying to find some geology on it, and I found some information where it abuts, like right over, or actually down here, I think. It abuts, but possibly there too. What's called the Persia, Tibet, Burma, Orogeny, which is all this, including the Himalayas, but all of it. So it's kind of grabbed my attention, where I then started to try to find things, and I noticed. So based on this, I was using the magnetic anomaly map, kind of looking around here, looking around this area, but like this, I was trying to use this as like a pivot point. So I found by looking around that this is very much like right in here to here, and then across here, and then up across this way. And then back here in this area is this thing. Aral Sea, maybe it might be called, or maybe that's what, I don't know. But this, what I believe was once a sea, is still a sea, but is less of a sea. Is there. But then this whole thing, there's like this lobe that connects to Tarim Basin's lobe. So I kind of was just looking around. So we're just going to real quick go through some details. That lobe, the first one, that is right here, is where that sea is, but it continues across to like this range. It doesn't go down to here, it goes across like here. Has something of that shape. That then Tarim Basin is like over here. So there's those things going on, and then the Tibetan Plateau is especially below that, where this dense material is, and then the Himalayas are past that. Not here specifically. Can't see the magnetic anomalies in that map very well in the Himalayas, but so that got me thinking, like, what is going on here? And I was when I was looking at this map, I thought maybe a current came in this way, and like something's holding this boundary. There's a boundary being held for some reason. This one, like, if we go over here, there's a current flowing this way and up this way, and then a current flowing this way. That are interacting, so it's possible. Let's get this bigger. It's possible there's the Persian Gulf, so it's up along here to Anatolia, so basically that corner where that earthquake was. Here, so it's pretty much up here. And then that structure here that goes over that way is here and up here, like that. So that kind of makes me feel like the channel that this current flowed through is related to the two sides of those, to the two sides there. All these mountains here in this stretch are related to the channel of current that flowed this way through over here. Before this spilled out across it and interacted with it like an intrusion, maybe. But let's keep looking before I slow down too much. So I was thinking maybe something from over here is flowing up this way. Like, this current's flowing here, it's hitting resistance. Why is it hitting resistance? It's not because India is crashing into Asia. It's hitting resistance because it's hitting resistance in its current flows in the Earth's expansion process. And this thing is looking around. I'm like, is it possible there's a current flow from here, basically, like this? Essentially, there's current flow coming through over there, I believe, possibly actually through Australia. Sometimes it's unclear. I can just tell where the current is going at certain points, and in between, maybe there's like some confusion still. But I was thinking it was coming through this way, and then out here into here and fanning out. But it's possible it was actually coming this way and going like over to here, and this was largely sourced, like everything going on here was largely was fanning out this way, and then it flowed out mostly to like a single location more so up here as well. But like this created the largest mound, but it dissected that mound as that current went across. And I was thinking, this is where it gets kind of interesting. I was thinking it ran into resistance. I was like, well, it must have like have continued, but if maybe it didn't and it ran into resistance and went up this way. And that's what I'm thinking, like, are there signs that it ran into resistance? Like, my interpretation previously is that this current flows out this way, and then it essentially ends up going down and getting dissected by this current flowing over here, so that it also goes down this way. But it's possible that this also goes up that way. As well as like in a different location nearby. And it does do both, or maybe it switches between one or the other depending on like leading into 65 million years, pretty much, when the Himalayas were really starting to form at the KT boundary, not before. So this current maybe flows across and overwhelms current that was flowing this way at that point because it's reasons, I don't know, flowing elsewhere, not flowing out as much from there. But then this flows into resistance is my thought, and maybe goes up this way over here. And I started to think, like, I was looking at it like this, at like this angle, and I'm like, it's pretty interesting, like this location, it's almost like a current is, if anything, if there's some resistance, maybe it happened like at the ocean boundary here is what I was thinking, like where it etched along the continent because it like ran into resistance and then went like up this way pretty much, which would mean there's another opposing current. So we do have interesting like ripples out this way that kind of point to a flow in that direction, like that, even in the magnetic anomaly map. And then what really caught my attention was when I realized that this arc that goes, here's the mantle puncture hole, it's got this arc which wraps around. Like if we pull up this ammonite animation, like it wraps around. Sorry that it's so fast. Feel free to pause, of course, and I am not able to, so I'm just going to look again. Okay. See if there's anything that pops out from me. Okay, yeah. So it's got this one up here, and then down here, this one up here goes across here. Down here goes over here, and then it like goes into the top and wraps around. But it continues across this way over here. To what was once Australia. So, I'm sorry, it's very hard to like piecemeal these thoughts together cohesively and transmit the ideas. But this kind of comes to a point here, like, that has a boundary this way that goes over to here. I found that very interesting. It kind of looks like a flame if I zoom out. It's got like a arc that way. At least that way. Maybe not that way. Hard to tell this way. Like a nucleus type region. I don't know. It gives me a flame vibe. Which is weird because I'm like, what relationship does this path over here, that the mantle puncture hole current flowed this way and flowed this way, and then it created a boundary adjacent to its flow. But what the relationship would this path have to do with over here where Australia and all these islands were, is what I was thinking. And it occurred to me, maybe, like if we go, let's go to the map real quick. So that's here. Maybe, actually, let me go to the animation. This is the eastern side of Australia. That had Solomon Islands, like before the Earth expanded. It was folded in a bit because the Earth was smaller, and then connected to Central America and South America like this. Whereas Western Australia was connected to Sulawesi and North Maluku. And all this whole region was basically folded in the Philippines, which got really dislodged, was right here, while Burma was here, and then other like attached pieces were attached to it. So it occurred to me, maybe, what if this current went out this way, went out this way, went out still this way initially, and this isn't like part of this formation chain, and basically this region where Burma like would have been here, pretty much this region here would have been down here, which then would have turned it so that like this was the northern side, this was the southern side in relative positions, but had this like locked in here. And then basically Papua New Guinea, though, then as the turns again back to lock in over here, ocean closes up. Like, I think it's possible that that is the actual location. And like this portion got lodged atop it. It's hard to say what's going on around Papua New Guinea. Let's see. It's hard. A lot of the times I can't find like the equivalent. It's just not done. It might be somewhere, but it's not on here. This is pretty well sourced, so I don't know. It just might not be done in a lot of these places because it does require relatively being near the Earth. Like not, I don't think satellites do this. Oceanography. But like in a way where when the Earth expanded, it pushed the current and made it basically come back. Like it was on this side of this splitting current, and it ended up on the opposing side and turned. What did it even need to turn? Maybe it was more just out like this. Whoa, maybe it was like this, and this was the far end out here. It gives me like a trident vibe. That's what I'm thinking, maybe. Where it's going this way, and then this. I don't see any other part of a trident over there. But so I'm thinking there's some kind of interaction where there's like a generally like this current is flowing across, going over here, going over here, going over here, going over here, going through here, over this way, and joining. And then over here, it's going the opposite way, so like around this way, creating this flame structure, I guess, that maybe even has some kind of tie like that at some point. And it points right at the, like this outlet. So like, if there's two opposing pressures, maybe there, where it was essentially coming through here and pushing against the current, which then caused it to like explode below it, and like this current coming out here went out and opened the space with some kind of, like, they definitely has some roundedness to it, so it's probably like opening the space here, even like rippling out, maybe. Going this way, going this way. To here, where it runs into the current over here, going this way, which are pushing into each other out of balance. It almost like forms a channel and then it fills the channel. Potentially. Like some leading current makes it a little easier for the rest of the current to flow behind. Okay, let's keep going. Oh yeah. So before I leave this topic, it occurred to me, like, wait, this opposing, let's compare. Oh yeah, I'm on there. So if this is like where the fingers meet, let's say, around that area. Then this would be one of the knees, the knee up. So it's kind of got a knee up, so that's a good sign. The knee up. And then it's kind of got like a leg out over here this way. Like, extend it out that way. One leg up, one leg out this way. Which would mean, like, the arm is maybe casually reaching over. Maybe torso region. I was also thinking over here, like a arm with an elbow and then a hand out this way. Kind of can even see like a bicep. Oh, I was muted. Oops. Pardon me. I was saying, reaching out from Australia, which is where Odin is. So going real quick to, let's say here, shapes on Earth maybe? I don't know where I put it. I thought it was beings. Animals. We got the Birdman here. We got Nidhogg here. We got other stuff, but let's get to Odin. Odin's ravens are around Odin himself, who has two eyes. One eye is missing. Two eyes. One eye is missing. This is still has an eye in it. Missing. So Odin is reaching out. And touching the finger of Adam. In Africa, notably. And so let's look at this a little closer. Odin has this shape around him. This shape, let's compare. It's got a little thing there. It's hard to say back there. Thing there, rounded there. Rounded, maybe? A little thing there. Indentation there as well, or over here even. Not visible there, that's interesting. That's very interesting, this thing. That is not visible there. Okay, so also all of the islands around Odin. To keep looking at this a little bit, all the beings, young maybe, possibly a mother. Let's see, does Odin also have... So if Adam's leg is kind of extending across here below him, and Odin is reaching out with one arm, does he have another arm back wrapped around the maiden? I guess that's a woman. Looks like the most aged of all of these with him. But literally an arm wrapping around, like wrapping here around it. What else we got? That's an, I mean, that alone is pretty significant. So that would mean this is bigger than Australia itself. Oh my god. Spin it out of control, hope it helps. Makes perfect sense. I guess this could be that large thing with the indentation there. And then up around, maybe even all the way around. Maybe. Not necessarily up that far, but to like way out here then. As the red thing. Then it really encapsulates most of them with some legs hanging out of the space. I wonder if there's like some legs hanging out maybe somewhere. Looks like it encapsulates it if it goes down that way. But then his body. So his arm this way. Arm there, shoulder I guess around there somewhere. Head maybe around the ammonite itself. Arm reaching out across. Maybe a little bigger head then. Hard to say. Naked, clothed. I don't know why exactly. But maybe it's something to do with the characteristics of the interaction. If there is any such parallel, of course. Knee, maybe that's... Maybe this has to do with his raised knee. Like it's kind of sticking out. His other leg's back, so it's like a double knee. Double knee. 1, 2, even. Looks kind of like a leg, maybe with a foot down there. Maybe not the biggest, maybe not the most scale, like, appropriate throughout, but... Possibly with a foot having extended over here, even. Whoa. What is this? Okay, I don't want to get stuck too much on this. Green ribbon. Maybe related to the current flow that's flowing in and out. I don't know why that wouldn't be equally represented on the atom. Old, young. Unclear. Okay, let's keep going. Right? Or do I... Let's just keep going. I didn't really talk about anything over here. So... Lake Baikal. Back to that, there's generally a current potentially over here. I was thinking like going right here, like generally to here. Kind of like if there is, then that one that's additive here more so than elsewhere, then it would kind of make sense for why there's so much more material like right across the span. Which then builds a wall that makes it harder to get through, so maybe it like encourages this to happen too. So it kind of makes sense from some angles that such a thing may be happening when coupled with both this and that specifically. These ones are definitely related to this stretch here. But then there's this gap, right? All the way to the corner that then reaches up to the Himalayas. So there's this gap from about here to about here that bends around here kinda, and then down here there's mountains or Arachne in the Persian, the Makran subduction zone. I don't know why it's in the subduction zone. A trench. So I guess it's not a orogeny, but an anti-orogeny, a trench. Northeastern margin of the Gulf of Oman, adjacent to the southwestern coast of Balochistan. Balochistan. I was like, is that a country I never heard of? Of Pakistan, southeastern coast of Iran. Oceanic crust of the Arabian Plate is being subducted beneath the continental crust of the Eurasian Plate. So like a current flowing this way that then goes underneath, an overcurrent going maybe this way. We gotta turn this. There we go. This is that corner, and over here is the subduction zone. This looks tied to that. Wonder if a current flowing at this width continues across beyond this as well. Interacts with a current going this way, if it would then divide it to make it go this way and this way, and it went this way, but then filled this region, and then once it filled this region, maybe when was able to like go across that way. While still going this way, just helping hold a space for the current to go. Just maybe especially what was happening here. The subduction zone? I don't know. I guess there's some kind of mountains. They're just not labeled with the same labels, so I'm just thinking, oh, they're not as mountainous. I guess they're mountains. Hard to say. It might just be faults. So Lake Baikal. Over here is the ancient Siberian plate that approaching it is younger, 1.8 billion years according to radiometric dating, but like 3 billion over here. On this side of Lake Baikal is a younger, what is on this side? Are, quote, microplates, which kind of made me think of like segments of an ammonite. And like a core, like segments, chambers, I don't know. But yeah, and then the Lake Baikal has what's called the Rift Zone, which is much bigger than Lake Baikal, which I believe is what I was mapping the other day. 120, I guess 55 point, or maybe it doesn't have a scale, so maybe this is not much further, like 58, I don't know, 128, 58, let's say. Oh, it goes way over here even. Lake Baikal is here. The Rift Zone goes over here as well. And then the region of interest that I thought was the Rift Zone, but is not. It goes down to here. That goes down to like here. Where this one points at the Kaligandaki Valley, and then the one going to this one points at the like boundary over here. So there's definitely some vibrations out of this spot. This is where this begins. So basically whatever current is flowing towards the Himalayas that's involved in this is not as easily able to etch into the ancient craton of the Siberian traps. So it etches along a boundary between the two zones. And I believe it runs into, like, as essentially some water's flowing here. It's at like 1,000 meters, starting to go uphill a little bit, 1,500, 2,000. So they're like running into some resistance, but still like 500. So not that much, but as it approaches over here, we start to hit more and more resistance. As it goes uphill more and more. I guess it's still not going uphill quite as early. It really has to reach the Tibetan Plateau to go like uphill. 5,000 meters now. 5,000, pretty much 5,000 until we hit the Himalayas. Which even shows it as being like 6,000 generally. Under. Tibetan Plateau is not much lower. Oh, there's so many things I saw like this. Because I was thinking, well, is there a ramp here? Like there is in Damodar Kund. Like, here's this big old thing, so that would mean over here is a ramp shooting in the opposite direction. Do we see one? Looking at it, like, I don't know. But then there's this over here. That's interesting. I was thinking maybe the current came in this way. Wrapped around this way. Ran into another current. That was maybe coming along this way in part, but out here. That then vibrated. And then it found a weak point to just dig into while it backed up going uphill over here. And had like a conduit of main flow that etched in there, but like the velocity was reduced because of this conduit. Like the overall bulk material maybe wasn't flowing, so like etching of the earthable, but it had regions because of just the sheer mass of it all that it like forced the current to that channel and then down that channel where it ran into resistance here, as well as had this cross current coming across this way. So maybe that's even related to the resistance. Through here, bending this way. Going to... interesting. West. Like, I've been saying the Mariana Trench was generally opposite Australia here, which would kind of put this thing in a pretty decent position above the Mariana Trench now that I look at it like that. But this had a flow that was flowing from over here at a width to here and over here. It definitely was participating in an interaction with the current coming this way. Having this boundary here form and all this stuff. Rift Basin. It has three regions. The deepest is in the middle of the lake. The medium deepness is in the southern portion, and the shallow is in the north. There's that as well, which is not the sequence I tend to see, but it is carved in like a wave fashion, so it kind of makes sense. Also carved to the least at the beginning, where it just starts to dip in and then gains momentum and then reaches a maximum etching, and which reminds me, oh my god, guys, maybe I can just get rid of that for now. There's things I found over here that hopefully I don't forget. I was thinking about, the last video I talked about, I was looking at this spot. And this is the inlet to Damodar Kund. And there's this thing here which has this. And I was thinking, well, it looks kind of like a spot where current like wrapped around, maybe like this. And some of it continued over around this boundary and went this way. But it generally had a like eddy forming here that was providing that current over. Also like providing the cross current potential, because essentially I was thinking like this location is perhaps like if water's going through the Himalayas, there's a point where it's better off to go forward and finish getting through the Himalayas than to go backward and to basically retreat back through the Himalayas, like in terms of an energetic balance point. If it gets past this, then it's easier energetically for the current to, like including all the pressure over here, to just etch through the rest of the way. And so there's some critical balance point where like it will make it through. And it's possible that that balance point didn't always happen. So sometimes it happened in ways like this, whereas like even at a different energy level maybe. And over here a little closer. Interesting, there's even some outlets there, like there's less pressure on this side. But I was thinking maybe that's what this is it basically, once it was able to etch through this region to this point, it really was like so much space that it was like easier for it to just keep going based on the pressures. And that really sparked this like eddy here that was then like pushing a current this way, but also maybe encouraging current down and around this way, and like opening this space. Maybe, and then flowing over there and out that way as one of the ways out. Like this looks like a nucleus with like a yin-yang aspect to it maybe. I don't know, like a broken nucleus maybe. Maybe a broken nucleus. Like some of the shallograms don't have like just solid nuclei. They're like exploded to the oblivion, or like part of them are, and the rest of them is okay. Is there signs of a just wrapping current here? It does kind of look like this. Come in there, come in there. Because essentially, it's putting out currents in this direction, and like moving on this more on the right side overall until it's like all the way on the right side. Hmm. It's even got like a long chakra thing here. Like a core to the larger chakra here. If it's going in an eddy, at times it's going uphill and climbing this stuff. At other times it starts to drop down and then goes up. It's generally around. Forms maybe a boundary. Like here, like current going this way, around this. Like this goes up that way. But this kind of encourages that way. I don't know. Enough to leave some semblance of a divide here. Whoa. Where is it? Oh, sorry, I'm just kind of looking. Okay, but how's this doing? 20 minutes. Okay. Do I want to go through these? Not really. What was I thinking, though? This. It was about this. That's right. So I started thinking, current's coming out this way. Maybe I'll stop here, because this next episode is gonna... like, what I'm about to talk about is a little too much to just get into for a little bit. The current flowed from the ramp across to here. And then I was looking at it, I was like, well, what's it doing? I know it's going that way, but like, is that all it's doing? And I looked at this, and I don't really see any like spray points where the current's just like running into it and fanning out atop it, but I'm thinking it's going around the bend and like physically flowing over, and anything that gets over this bend that way then just enters into this valley. And I was looking at this area, trying to decipher if there's anything relevant. That's when I looked for these mountains and found this one. I was like, maybe these mountains are relevant to what I'm looking for right now. So there's that one over here. Alright, Mount Kylish is going to be over there somewhere. Or over there. There it is. There. So we're across from each other. Opposite sides. Parvat. This one here, just for reference, has a Om symbol on it, literally. So of course this one's fascinating. And what? So there it is, hanging out here. Interesting, this looks kind of like a figure eight right there. But so, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know. But I found it curious that if we go over here, here's Damodar Coon, which got this spray coming out here. And then kind of opposite to it is that. So I was thinking maybe there's some pressure balance going on that's like across this span even. Where current's going this way. And then it's running into resistance from current going this way. And that ends up producing what is this like section here. As some kind of like intermediary zone where it like it vents off here, and this one vents off here maybe, and they kind of both vent off as well as go up this way and interact. So for instance, like these bands across look highly related to this current interacting with this current coming through here and then going through channels that it manages to get through, and then it goes over, but this current's going this way, so this current goes underneath it physically, like etches below it enough by actually etching a path, like systematically though, with these channels here and there, here, off of these ones up here. So it like suggests to me there's a flow going out this way that's then interacting with the flow this way, and then there's flow over here, so as well as flow here, like if we look at this region, as I just go into it, this region has these right next to it, so clearly like these scars are current trying to go through, like they're trying to go this way into resistance, so they're going like that. Looks actually related to Luz almost. I don't know where these currents are coming from, but they're pretty strong, whatever's going on here. It's creating these straight paths over here, like frequently and parallel relatively, just straight through. But this one goes through, and then it turns here, goes over here. I think it basically branches back and holds a boundary here. Like it goes in, goes over this way, and pushes a boundary while another current comes in here. So it's squishing things. And then it's squishing between the current coming in from over here, squishing between this current and itself, this region. But then it flows over here, down here, over here, over here, over here, over here, all the way up to here, where, if we zoom out, this current is flowing out here, and it's branching out, branching out, branching out, and it goes over here, opposite to this current here, which is also here. So it goes basically, this current comes in, goes in two directions around this mass that it forms, interacts with this current, which pushes a boundary out against it, and then has this like furthest pinch point where this current goes all the way to Om Parvat, and this current goes all the way, like, basically at its maximum radius point, like from here outward, over here towards this one. And then this one comes in here, up here, and all the way to like right here as like a sort of balance. As well as, let's see what goes on over here. Looks like it runs into resistance here pretty hard and forms like a straight wall there between whatever's coming in here. Forms like a wall. So it doesn't really get doesn't really get in as much from there. Although possibly its vibrations get in across. So this thing is like smack dab in the middle of these interactions. I don't know what to make of that exactly and why it would be an ohm symbol, but and it's also across the way from Mount Kailash, which is one of the most like sacred mountains in Hinduism, possibly Jainism as well, if not only. I don't know. Let's see, Jain. There it is. Sacred of 4 religions. I've never even heard of Bon, at least not in my recollection. Like if there is a mountain that is sacred to 4 religions, and there's all these geological processes going on, I don't even know, did it stop? Looks like my sound stopped. Then maybe there's something important to it, and geologically, I don't know. It's like along this boundary. It's off to the side this way. I guess this kind of points at it. If we go this way, and then like it bends. Kind of bends. Let's draw a line from this point to this point. Just see kind of what it passes through. Because essentially I'm thinking this current goes this way and actually ramps into this region goes across this way, interacts with these cross currents. Although this kind of looks like it's going in. I think as long as it's gouging under, it can go across at that angle. Like if there's a current going this way, it would seem like it would bend it that way, but it goes across that way. It may be that it goes under and then like reaches another current that almost acts as like like if you're building furniture, like it needs the components to like be able to be stable. Like if it reaches another current that can like help it by being like a pivot point that it braces itself off of, because it's not pushing it in this direction, but it's encouraging it in this direction. So maybe going on this way is this direction, and this way this direction. So up here maybe there's a current generally going this way. That's kind of what I'm thinking. While down here is a current leaving this system, Damodar Coon going out this way. And then like short-circuiting over that way probably as well, like across with this current even. But then running into resistance around this mass that I guess is because there is a current going this way, and it like builds this mass to kind of deflect this current around it. Not sure why it wouldn't do it somewhere else. I guess by building that mass, maybe it causes this current to more so feed like up this way, and that's all it needed to do. So then it goes up this way and through here, but then this current kind of goes through underneath it. Like that way and this way. Although that's a little close to those mountains. You would have to like ramp over the mountains instead of going this way. Maybe it goes into this region and the upper current went this way and ended up maybe just kind of going across there. Bunch of signs that it did right there. So then there's a current going this way on the bottom side, over here, and a current going this way on the top side. So maybe it goes in and basically runs into resistance and goes back, and in and runs into resistance, goes back, all the while like etching a little further, a little further, a little further, until it can etch like in a way where it like causes a current to go across this way, causes a current to go like wrap around here and go across and cut into here, as well as like fill this space so that the current can then go up that way. While all the while current going like down here and back, I guess. It does kind of have like a roundedness there. Especially there. Like it came in here, went around this, built this structure like around the currents, pushing like a outer current went around there, but inner current went in at in here, and that compiled this region between them, and that also helped encourage this to go in a straight line, maybe over there. Not sure why it would do it over and over, unless maybe it did it sooner, like back. That just filled pressure there, and it did it again. cut through this stuff. Like, whoa. Just cut through. Right here. Anything that didn't bend around just was cutting through. I could go on forever. I could go on forever. This was kind of slow, unfortunately, getting into these topics. So I guess I'll just stop for now. Unfortunately, I didn't take notes. I almost need to sometimes. I definitely had some thoughts that are no longer gone forever. Maybe to be seen again. It's crazy how far a current ramping off of here seems to have influenced. Okay, guys, I'll be back. Possibly soon. I don't know. See you guys later. Peace out.